Hey everybody, what's going on? And you know what it is? It is your favorite hot girls from the SafeWord crew with another amazing hot girl pop-up. you know, you know, I am your co-host, Miss Sasha, and who do I have with me?
The host of the show, Miss Aurora Storm. Hot girl pop-up lives. We haven't done this one in a minute.
I know. I was just about to say that. I don't want y'all to forget. Don't want you guys to think that we forgot about you guys. Trust. The hot girls are here to give you all of that goddess feminine energy and that scope, that female scope on all things kink, BDSM, and relationships. So I'm super excited. Are you excited, Miss Aurora Storm?
I'm extremely excited because you have something special for today. Miss Sasha, would you like to tell us, because you brought in this person today, would you like to tell us who is here today and who we are going to be interviewing?
Yes. So I'm all tongue-tied because I'm so excited. This is an amazing friend of mine, and she hails from the East Coast, and her name is Miss Chy Blume, and she is it. I'm not going to spoil it. We're going to bring her in so you and I and we can get the skinny on Miss Chy Blume here with the hot girls SafeWord.
Yes, I am so excited. Can't wait. Here she comes right now.
So, we all go through biology around 5th or 6th grade, but outside of that, we don't get any type of education or stimulation around just how to approach sex and how to approach our feelings around sex, how it works, and different levels of things and whatnot. So we compiled some questions, and we want to bring you guys this information regarding sex, some traumas that come along with it, and some sexual healing. So I'm going to pass it off to Miss Aurora so she can introduce our guest for us.
Yes, because we have an expert on sexual healing today and healing in general, an expert. Okay, so we brought her on to ask her some amazing questions and get down to the nitty gritty, deep dive on what she does. So let's just start off with the first thing. Tell me who you are, where you're from, your age, all that.
Yes. So thank you guys first and foremost for having me here on this Hot Girl Pop-Up episode. Yes. Here for it. So my name is Jasmine Cruz. I go by the stage name Chy Blume. And within that world that I've built for myself, there's multiple endeavors. Besides being a sound healer, certified sound healer, I'm also a singer-songwriter. I am a mother. I am a Black woman. I am so many things, right? Yes. But for the basis of this episode, healing has kind of just become a huge part of my life. And that is what I'm choosing to focus on as my current life's work and life's purpose. So like whatever I do, I'm just making sure that I accomplish putting sound healing in it. So even with my music, I want to have my healing frequencies in there tucked in. So you're listening and you don't even know you're receiving some of that, that good loving that you need. All of that good stuff. So that's like a little brief intro on me and who I am.
That's amazing. So where are you from? Where are you located? It's from different than location, so people know where you're at.
Especially in today's, I just feel like as millennials and all of that, we're always all across the map, right? So I'm originally from the Bay, Northern California. Area. And I'm currently residing in Philly right now. I'm definitely way, across the map at this point.
You all over the place.
Right, exactly. Coast jumping,
We got the East and the West Coast up in here representing.
Exactly.
Out Bay, and I'm like, East Coast all the way.
Right. No, it's real spicy. Right, it's real spicy over here,
Exactly. So I'm going to give a little brief synopsis. So about 30% of all PTSD cases in the United States are attributed to sexual violence alone. So with that being said, what made you get into sound healing and what do you specialize in? How do you tailor that? Can you tailor it to an individual that has sexual trauma?
Yes, definitely. So what really kind of got me into sound healing was losing my job in 2019. Towards the end, before the pandemic, of course, inevitably started the next year. I was in a place where I needed to recenter. I wanted to find out what was going to be my next thing. You know, I had been dealing in an industry that I loved, which was the flower industry, and just trying to getting to that point where it's like a crossroads, you know? Right. So that led me to like having a morning routine. And then that led me to YouTube meditation. And then that led me to, ooh, what's that? That sound makes me feel so good. And I'm watching all these sound healing videos. And then I saw an ad for a company that was selling sound bowls. And I was like, ooh, bam, I'm going to just buy one, whatever. So I buy one and I instantly felt like this connection, like on some, you know, witchy, you know, crazy spiritual vibe type time.
So natural. Ain't nothing witchy about that.
Right. Well, hey, it's witchy. Embrace the witchiness.
Embrace it.
Right. Embrace the witchiness.
Exactly.
I do.
Exactly. Goddess energy. We'll say it. We'll call it that. Goddess energy that I was tapping into. You know, I just felt super aligned, and I knew I was aligned because fast forward, I ended up getting a brand deal with that company that I bought my first bowl from.
Oh, how amazing.
It's with sound healing and bowls and all full circle. So more reminders of like, wow, this really was for me, you know?
Right.
That's awesome.
I've got a real quick question before you jump in on the question. So,
yes.
For those people that are watching that don't have any idea what the heck is a sound bowl, what saying a bowl, people are like, what, did you go to Walmart and pick up a bowl?
You're right. I appreciate that. You're right. Let's take a couple steps back. Let's not assume here. You're absolutely right. So okay, a sound bowl kind of looks like this. This is like a Tibetan sound bowl.
Yep.
This one is a little bit one of my smaller guys. And basically, just to kind of give a brief synopsis, this is like the most ancient healing on earth, really. It goes back thousands and thousands of years. They even found crystal bowls that were like engraved in like Egyptian tombs and things. So our ancestors knew about the frequencies. And essentially, it's just that. It's when you're playing the bowls or you're listening to the bowls, our bodies are made up of like 70% water. So the frequency of the bowls just like easily penetrates our body. It helps our cells kind of gel together in a way that creates this order. A lot of the times when we're experiencing ailments in our lives, it's because our cells are in disorder.
Yep.
So a sound bowl, so a sound bath essentially can help kind of get everything in alignment with yourself. It can create this resonance of peacefulness and again just order. That's like the main thing with sound healing, and it just helps with so many things from anxiety to insomnia to our topic today, what we're getting into with trauma. As our body holds onto a lot of things, sound healing and the frequency that it provides can help release and chip away at old energies that we hold on to based onto negative memories, based onto traumatic energies, traumatic experiences. So that's a brief way to say what sound healing is and kind of translate it or relate it to the topic.
Right, the topic, exactly.
Yes.
Okay. So I know Sasha has some questions for you too.
I
do. Let's get into it.
I know. So we're going to take a few steps back and talk about biology and learning beyond biology. So when you were young and trying to figure out your own physicality and how your body works, can you remember how exploring yourself made you feel at that young age, and maybe how you incorporated, how you chose to explore yourself? And not just sexually, but overall as a young lady coming into her own and blossoming and understanding that for yourself.
Yeah, so I feel like this question for me definitely has two parts. One side, like my practical side, what I was getting into, what I was loving about myself, what I was finding interest in, and then the other side is innately sexual for me. I've come to realize as I've gotten older and doing more research and things of that nature, I am personally ruled by my sacral chakra. I can kind of dig deeper into that a little bit later, but so that causes me to be more of a sexual person. And as I was younger, I always wondered why I felt all these things in a sexual way, and which I'm sure we'll also get into as well, because that leads me to my sexual trauma that occurred from a young age. So that kind of instilled a curiosity in me. And I feel as though I kind of got into sex and sexual energy and the presence of that quite early based upon that experience. So that's that side. But on the other side, I was really just getting into like, oh my gosh, I love to write, or oh, I love music so much, or oh, I love to sing, or oh, I love to be outside in nature. Just kind of all of those things were happening at the same time. So it was one hell of an experience, especially being young, trying to balance all of that at once.
So we like to kind of share our own. We like to share our own personal experiences. So I'm gonna kick it off with Laura. How did you discover yourself, and how were some of your feelings, and how did you embrace those feelings coming up and trying to discover yourself?
Mine is very similar because I'm very artistic, which is basically what she's describing on one side, and then on the other side, I'm also very sexual in nature. That's the reason for this show. I am right at the same chakra. So
right.
Well, I do healing work through BDSM and things like that. So, but to find all of that, I mean, it really took. I went through a trauma as well, but I also have a disability. I have lupus, so it really took that time to sit back and go, okay, how do I heal myself?
Yeah,
how do I find myself. And
I take another step.
Right. So I sat with it really honestly took me till I was in my 30s to sit there and go, okay, I need to sit with myself and learn who the hell I am and, figure this out. So
right.
As a kid, it was confusion because my family was very, very open sexual. As I've said on the show before, my mom was a doctor, and so very, very open on that angle. But on everything else, it wasn't guidance. My mom's an artist too. So she's like, go, fly, do it, just have fun.
Right. You were too busy trying to figure out your body, not that. You're like, how do I, still, how do I even function on this level? That was the least of your concerns, huh?
It literally took me till I was an adult and I got diagnosed with this to sit back and go, okay, the doctors aren't helping me. So I sat with myself for 6 years. And I meditated and I read every book there was on universal practice, healing laws, all that. That's all I did for 6 years. And so, it really took being older and really trying to understand that I needed to understand who I was in order to project anything forward. So
it's almost like you had to come with that understanding about how to function your body before you can figure out how your body works in different ways. That was, yeah.
So what about with you?
Well, I had sexual trauma before I had sexual understanding. I was super innocent when my situation happened, and it was super close to home. And from that experience, I felt shame. I felt like I deserved it. And then from that, I think at a young age, around 12, I became super sexual, and it wasn't like I wanted to be humping and somebody come touch me. It was more like, why am I so intrigued by how people look? Why am I so intrigued? People kissing, it's passionate, that's cool, but it does make me feel a certain type of way, but I don't know why. So taxi cab confessions, Skinamax after dark,
real sex
for me because I'm old as hell.
Best sex ever.
Hookers at the point.
Hookers
at the point. That was something that intrigued me so much that people made it a business, that people or didn't care that much, or didn't love themselves that much, and that's how they felt like they deserve to be treated, or that's their therapy for themselves, because they're processing it by receiving the same treatment. So all of those things intrigued me at a young age, and I'm not even gonna lie. At 12, I said I wanted to be a stripper because at least someone who's going to be looking at me like that's going to be paid. And that's at 12 that I already had to learn how to take my power back in those situations at 12. So that's, we all have similar kind of stories to share, and trauma in there as well.
And that's what happens, unfortunately, with women, men too, guys. If they have any kind of sexual trauma early on in life, it makes it more refusing to come into your sexual nature and do it in a healthy way. You know, because then you're just looking for that first experience, regardless if that's what you're really looking for, because there was pain involved, but you're looking for something that's familiar. You're trying to attach to that. So, and it's about breaking that cycle, you know?
It is. And yeah, some of us do it with shame, some of us do it with healing, some of us do it with taking our power back.
Yep.
But even to go back a little bit further, kind of around the same age range, so after understanding and kind of understanding what's going on with our bodies, I know I had my own way. I'm sure Aurora had her own way, but how did you process the tingle? Like when the tingle started, outside of the curiosity, you know, we start to get, you know, feeling your armpits start to sweat when you see or do certain things. So like, how did that come about for you and how did you process it?
That is also a great question because it's so multi-layered. Yeah, it wasn't like a moment. It just kind of like, because so when I was younger, my mom had told me she would sometimes grab the mirror and we would just look at our little baby vaginas, and she would say, you need to know what's going on around there. So if something's happening, you can tell someone, or, you know, whatever. So that led itself to be its own curiosity within me. So after I did experience my sexual trauma in that way, I became curious. Like it's such a psycho thing, because like it feels good, but it's bad. So it kind of just completely, can I curse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It completely fucks your brain. Yeah,
it does.
Fucks your brain, and you end up in this like weird cycle of like, I know this feels wrong. I shouldn't want to do this. But so how can I experience this by myself? That was at least where it went for me. So that, again, by the time I was like, I don't know, maybe like 11, 12, like you just said, I was watching all of that stuff, real sex and all that. And I was like sneaking and watching sex scenes in movies and fast forwarding and remembering about the deleted scenes on the Baby Boy DVD where Yvette is fucking Kyrie. I know the specifics because I was doing this. Yes. You know, I was so interested. So again, I think the tingle for me was progressive, and it kind of it's like a trail from my very young adolescence up into when I lost my virginity, which would be when I was 17. And even then, I feel like that was more of like a peer pressure situation by like people around me, like my friends, because all my friends were having sex.
It wasn't like this. Range, where are you at?
right, exactly. Like, what's happening? And I'm like, oh my God, like senior year, you know. So yeah, it was kind of a long process of that tingle and that spark, but I could at least identify it once it did happen, because I was like very well aware of my body, how it worked, what I need to do for myself, how to do it myself. So I wasn't like pressed when it came to men in terms of like, oh my God,
So, Miss Aurora, how did you address the tingle, and do you remember what sparked the tingle?
Yeah, the reason I was making faces is because y'all are like 12. Okay, I was 5. I used to for real. I used to masturbate to put myself to sleep every night. Okay, I can remember a cartoon called something Nim. It's with like they get mouses and there's a crow in it, and the crow does this sexual mating dance, and that was the first time I felt the tingle. The fucking sexual crow mating dance. I was like, ooh, what's happening?
Got you.
What's happening?
I love that.
What's happening? You know? But like my mom was the same way. Like I said, my mom was dumb. Okay, she was a sexual educator. So by 6th grade, I remember being in my 6th grade health class, and all the kids like laughing when they're like fallopian tubes, vagina, labia, you know, fellatio. But they're explaining everything, right?
Right.
And kids are just dying, and I'm literally in the class going,
y'all didn't know this stuff already?
Yeah, and I'm like, I know the answer. And so then eventually my teacher just looked at to me and goes, Aurora, come up to the front of the class since you seem to know everything you want to teach. I was like, yeah. Right. And I think she was trying to put me on the spot because she thought I was just being a know-it-all. But she literally had a picture of the fallopian, the uterus, the fallopian tubes, everything. And I came up, I'm like, fallopian tubes, ovaries. The eggs go into the ovaries, go down the fallopian tube, attach themselves to the wall. And then every month there's, a thing that happens. And so I'm explaining all this very scientifically. And I just remember my teacher going, and then she called my mom.
I knew she was going to call.
She called my mom. And my mom shows up.
I'm sure.
Principal's office. My mom shows up and she goes, what the fuck is the problem? So she knows about her body. She knows about other people's bodies. And she knows what the hell to do with it. Okay?
Right. So now she's in trouble.
Like, what's going on here, ma'am?
Right. But like at 5, honestly. And I would.
They're like, she's too educated.
Right. I would masturbate to put myself to sleep every night until my trauma. And then that's where it became confusing for me because my trauma happened at 12. So for me, then it became a thing of it tingles down there still, but why? Because I am so freaked out about what happened a couple years prior to.
And why is my body still reacting kind of the same way that it did in trauma, but I'm not in trauma?
Right.
It's exactly what I was just saying earlier, that strange dichotomy between the pleasure and the pain of it.
Right.
It's so sick. It's really crazy.
And we talked about on the last live, we talked about a guy with a foot fetish, and he sits there and watches a video game, and all he has to do is rub his toes together, and he knows exactly when the rock is going on, and it makes him go off, And so the question was asked: do you think that you could watch the video game without doing the thing with your feet and still release? Right. So it's almost that same kind of cognitive conditioning that happens. So when you go through a trauma,
one go without the other.
Right. When you go through a trauma, and this is supposed to be a pleasurable, beautiful thing. That's how it was explained to me from my mom. Then all of a sudden, there's a trauma there. And so you're very conflicted. It's like, because that memory is there, that pain is there, the smell would be there.
There's certain things.
And there'd be nobody in the room, but I could smell the person that hurt me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
that goes back to one of our other, what video was that? I forget what video it was, but it was talking about how a lot of people are already pre-empted to be sexual or be pre-empted to be into kink because it could be genetic. Because there's some people who figure out they're into kink and like, daddy is in a leather vest and he has a leash on him. So certain things are passed on until you do have an interruption in regularly scheduled connection with your body. So,
but here, you need to tell your story, Miss Sasha. Don't think you're sliding into the next question now. Come on, share, mama, share.
Sliding into the next question.
My tingle started after my sexual trauma when I started being curious in videos and it made me more curious about sex because I didn't like how that situation made me feel about an object that I love. I love my body. I think it's dope. It does cool things. And someone disrupted my love for myself. Yeah. So at that point, around like 6, after my trauma happened, that person really shamed me. Like, I'm gonna tell on you, you're gonna get in trouble, everybody blames you already, so they're gonna think that you did this, or you're a liar, and stuff like that. And this is like somebody who's like 2 years older than me, maybe 3. So I'm 6, that person's like 9 or 10. Like, making me feel horrible, so you're gonna get in trouble for being sexual, because somebody's, like, you deserve to be like that. Yeah. So after all of that, at 6 years old, I was like, how can someone say that I'm bad? How can someone say that I've already had my own feelings in my family? So I went on a discovery to figure myself out and really self-soothe myself from 11 to like 24. Soothing myself through that and like doing my own personal therapy and getting comfortable with my body, with myself, and gaining my power back, and whole phases and all this shit. It took a long time for me to get through that, but I would say around 12, I would see pornos or hookers at the point. Hell, I even saw a deck of naughty cards. Okay, so that's the first instance. I found a deck of naughty cards and a toy. It looked like a cucumber with a tip on it. But I found it in my parents' gosh darn room, child. And that was it. I was like, not Deacon and Deaconess. Not the church folks.
Oh, I heard church folks work. That's what I heard.
Yep.
You know, and they say,
because they can go in and ask for forgiveness on Sunday.
Right.
Exactly. But I remember the smell of the cards. They almost smelled musky. And I remember the whole thing. But
like they've been used before, huh?
I was going to say, baby, that means they've been used.
I never thought it. Oh, I shouldn't have thought. But I remember seeing people in that exquisite position because Skinemax and all that stuff, there was no full frontal, there was no boobs. It was more suggestive in the moans. And I already found that interesting. But seeing what made it and it really happening in a fun way, in a non-structured way, I was like, yes, all of that. That is seeing penetration for the first time in its actual form of penetration is what gave me the tingle in both places.
I've got a real quick question for the both of you. Do you guys remember the cable box, like back in the day when it first came out and it had a key on the side?
Oh no,
I'm not that old. Oh, okay.
I don't remember
because
that.
like you talking about pornos and stuff and like the naughty channels. My friend and I was about 10, 11, when we were doing this, and she had a cable box in her room. And if you put it on the porno channels, because they used to have porno cable channels, it would come in all static. But if you ate that key really hard, you get a nipple. And then all of a sudden you get a dick. And you're like, oh wait, hold up. Keep turning it.
I love that. Oh my God.
We need to see it.
I literally love that. Because,
you know what? It's crazy to say, and we're taught to suppress it, but we're all animals. We're all animals. We have an animalistic nature. And in American society, they don't even teach you how to embrace that and shame so much, but it's embedded in your DNA. I know as a woman, we're taught to subdue it, but it's like, okay, why is there no discussions or forums around what is your level of intimacy? What is your level of intimacy?
Right. What does it look like?
Okay, now that we understand that, how does that work in the sociology of human interaction and physicality? No one goes through that. So you may think you want that person because they're cute, but socially asking those probing questions, it's not going to be if no one touches on them.
Nope. And that's why we're
here. Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, exactly. Because we did not go over those things.
No.
So.
Right. That's why we are here and we're happy to have you here. So we've talked about what gave us the tingle, some of our experiences with it. So us embracing that, I know we touched on shows and situations. Who was someone that you looked up to during that time or before that time period? Who was someone that you looked up to help you embrace your goddess femininity or explore your sexual side? And why?
I think for me, it was more like pop culture, honestly.
Yeah.
Because like we were just kind of saying, my mom had told me about the mirror thing, and we had a couple different instances where we were all about the vagina, but like we didn't talk in like an informative way. I didn't feel like I could ask her questions.
It was more like a kumbaya, like a
So it was more like the sex talk, but the sex talk about
kind of like the birds and the bees conversation, kind of basic. But if we think about it, sex in the sex industry has changed so much since like our parents were young, even. So honestly, thinking about it, I can't even expect her to be able to understand. Because at the time, again, like we were saying earlier, we had real sex. We had these shows, Best Sex Ever. There was even like LimeWire was coming up at the time, and I remember I would download porn. Like, there's no way, to be able to intercept all these different ways that sex was coming to us at that time. Yeah,
I mean, you would get sent it in your email from a friend. Maybe you just like and you'd open it and be like,
I remember my spam mail at like 10 or 12 full of just pornos. And then my mom opened my spam, was like, "You're looking at porn." I'm like, "No, ma'am, you're looking at porn on the computer."
Yeah, you're like, that's spam. I don't know what you're talking about. Like all of that, like getting viruses from downloading porn. Like I feel like I've been through so many different levels with sexuality and you know, if you will. So again, to relate it back to what I was saying earlier, again, a lot of my knowledge is just rooted in pop culture. I will be watching BET Uncut. I will be watching all the, you know, movies, romantic movies. Like, oh, this is how you fall in love. This is how a man loves you. You know, all that kind of stuff. Just learning from music even. I'm such a music head, listening to a shit ton of music and thinking like, oh, this is how love's supposed to feel. Or, ooh, this is what sex sounds like. You know, when you get into like the Janet Jackson bag and it's like, ooh, shit, you know? So, yeah, I would say pop culture, but definitely taught me everything. And experience. The School of Hard Knocks taught me a couple things about sex as well. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with mine.
Sasha is frozen. Oh no.
Oh no.
She is frozen too.
Right? It looks so cute though.
It always does. She freezes and it's like, meanwhile, I'm like, and she goes, oh, there she is. There we go.
Right.
I'm sorry. My internet was taken out. My bad.
So she finished saying pop culture was the reason that, you know, it's who she looked up to, how she all of that.
Yeah, basically, pop culture helped me dissect the sexual realm because it's so in your face and it's so accessible. You know, you hear the music, all that stuff. So.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say who I looked up to since you're kind of glitching out right now, Mama. Yeah. You're glitching very cute, though. Let me just let you know it's like photos and shit. Okay. So for me, who I looked up to, well, honestly, it was a lot of pop culture, and then my mom pretty much grabbed me by the ear at 16, you know, and was like, okay, look, you don't have a real conversation. You already have the scientific, here's how everything works, okay? But my mama wouldn't know. She had a closet, this little armoire in her room. It was locked up, okay? And when I was 16, well, about 15, she had 2 live-in slaves. So during the day, they were just normal people. They helped out with the dishes and, you know, swept the floors and, you know, they were really cool. They helped me with my homework. You know, they were awesome. But my mom really sat me down and explained everything, like to a point of, look, you're not going to want to use this plastic dildo because you might get an infection if you don't wash it clearly. Okay. And you got to make sure that you wash it really well. So what I suggest is glass. And then she pulls this thing out of a belt. I'll pull it out for one of these days. Because I got gifted it. She ain't never used it before. It was up in a glass case on a mantle. Okay.
Premium sex toy.
Right. This thing is like $400 or $500. Okay, or more. It's handmade, hand blown. It's fit for a woman. It's got all these pretty colors and intricacies inside of it. And glass holds heat and cold very well. And so she was like, this is the better object to play with. I understand it doesn't vibrate. It doesn't do this, that, and the other. But if you learn how to please yourself, you don't need all the extra batteries. And so at 16, she really kind of just she explained everything to me to a point where like I got to look in the armoire and pick out a flogger and I'm smacking pillows and she's like, you're doing it wrong. All right, look here. You know, and my mom's a bulldog. Okay. A bulldog. Like straight up black man trapped in a white woman's body. This is what we say about her. Okay. Like, don't fuck.
She is. I met her.
Yeah,
she is. Oh my God.
You know, 3 ways to said just we don't. And so like when I was told I wasn't doing it right, like I was like, damn. And it was to a thing with my mom. So honestly, who I looked up to was my mom because she had done that research. She's gay. You know what I'm saying? She deals with it. So, you know, she knows about the female anatomy very, very clearly, very, very well. And she can break it down to a concise point of not just like hey, this is what's going on with you physically, but while physically this is going on mentally, this is the other piece of it. And I need you to understand the mental part of it, Aurora, you know? And so it became a thing that every day after school, I'd have 20 minutes practice with a flogger. Hence, this is why my tool of choice is a flogger, because I'm good at it, you know? So my come ups were definitely like real sex, you know, porn and pop culture and music. And, you know, music and movies telling you, this is what it's supposed to look like. And then you get into a real relationship and you're like, wait,
you're like, I don't get to come too.
This is not like that. The one
in the movies, the girl gets to come.
Right. And the one thing that I can always go back to is the fact that when I have those questions, when I'm going, this didn't look like the movies. I married this dude and it's not looking like it was, I don't get
marriage in that one movie.
Mom would sit me down and be like, that is fantasy. Remember how we talked about fantasies, fetishes, kinks? Fantasy. This is what reality looks like. And I need you to understand this, because it's never going to look like what it does over here. So yeah,
90% of relationships are fictitious fantasy, and no one's being honest with each other and addressing what's really going on. It's just it's a pseudo, like mocking what you see on TV.
Right.
Like, hi, I'm this, I like you.
Right. Even in a long-term relationship, you never reroute and get back to that.
Right.
Exactly. You can't learn how to play with each other or kind of have that dance when you don't know each other's sexual history, sexual traumas, stuff like that.
That's what I
do you like? Do you really like an ankle?
Well, and that's what I love about
it's BDSM. Like, let me know.
That's what I love about BDSM, because everything is based in communication. If you can't communicate, you can't get into this BDSM world. Not healthy. Not healthy. Not at all. So you got to learn how to communicate.
Yes. Right. Yes. Exactly. If you guys hear my daughter in the background, sorry.
It's okay. So I'll tell you guys who I looked up to at that time. It wasn't people in sex or pop culture, but it was old school pop culture. So like Marilyn Monroe, Betty Page, Josephine Baker. That was one of my first. One of the movies that I remember being impacted the most by, because she was a performer, she was strong, she was rooted in her sexuality, she didn't take no shit, and she wanted to be the best, but she had a message behind what she did. And I thought that was so beautiful that she embraced all aspects of her, and she was like, damn it, you're gonna respect me for my craft and understand.
Yes.
So her, Betty Page, even Dita Von-Teese.
I was gonna say Dita later on down the road. Dita's like shit, and she's like.
And Dita was a great example. She got me into kinky BDSM because I didn't know what it was about her. She does the dark roots, she does the leather at some point, but she does it so soft though. So it was super intriguing how you can go from this world that I've always thought of being kind of like deviant and kind of like the underbucket, like that porn and stuff, but just the gracefulness of being sexy. That's really why I want to be a stripper too. I looked up to those women because they were just so powerful and pretty and soft, but take no shit.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Let's just take a quick poll right now, because when I was 16, I wanted to be a stripper too. Let's ask our guest.
Well, I never wanted to be a stripper, but I always, like, very similar to you, Sasha, in that the elegance of it, the confidence of it, I wanted to be able to embody that natural sexiness.
Exude that same energy.
Yeah, definitely. Like, without a doubt. And I always, like, especially when I got of age to go to the strip clubs in, like, the city and stuff like that, definitely was avid strip club goer. We used to love going to the strip club and just, like, seeing them. Seeing women in their element, like, I just think that's super dope. You know?
Yeah, it really is. It's really nice to see a woman step into her power. I wouldn't say that I necessarily want to take off my clothes for men, but you said it exactly perfectly. You wanted to embody that confidence, that beauty, that quality, the way they move, everything. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I actually still have on my to-do list to go to like a burlesque class or like a pole class.
Pole dancing class.
Yeah.
Pole dancing's amazing. I love it. I love those classes.
Just to, feel myself and loosen up. I recently turned 30, and I feel like within that, I've been coming into just my maturity, my sexy, just my like grown woman energy, very much like you said, guys.
30 is different. Like the day you wake up in your 30s, I know I did. I woke like everything feels a lot different now.
Mm-hmm.
So
much
weird,
purpose,
but it's really felt
so sexy, so much everything. I don't know. I just feel like things are more clear, even with for what I feel like my sacred work and my life's purposes. That just is so clear as well with my sound healing. And
I wouldn't say I was 30 and woke up and felt that way. I think it's to about 32, 33 before I realized, oh snap, life. I better get this shit together. Oh, damn. Okay,
my daughter did that.
Let me get on the horse. Like, I am no longer 20.
Right.
No,
I
longer.
So since we've touched on our icons and whatnot, we're gonna go back just a little bit. I know what was the talk like your parents were more conservative or liberal around sex?
Okay.
How was the talk where your parents or household conservative or liberal around sex?
Okay, got it. So kind of both, because my mom is older, so she was born. My parents are older; they both were born in the 50s. So, so like I didn't really talk about sex at all with my dad. I've to this day never even talked about sex with my dad. He knows I have sex because I have a daughter.
Right.
So, he knows how babies are made and things. So, but I definitely didn't talk to him. And I would say my mom was a mixture between conservative and liberal, because sometimes she would be like, well, don't, and you better not. But then it'd be like funny stuff. She'd be like, well, like semen is good for your skin. Or, like just like random times where I was like, Mom, so you're okay with this? Like, okay.
Don't be freaky, but your mama's a freak a little bit.
Right. It kind of went back and forth. I feel like she felt like it was an inner battle between her trying to hide her possible inner hoe and trying to be a mom.
Yeah.
And as I'm getting older, I feel it. I get the battle. I understand.
It's a battle. It is. It's a battle. Right. Especially when you have kids, it's a battle.
Exactly. So, again, now I'm a mom, I can empathize with her a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, I had an interesting balance. And then I have an older sister who kind of raised me in a way. So I was like literally with her while like she was having sex. I wasn't in the room or anything, obviously, but I know I'm young.
You knew what was
with
up.
my older sister. We're at her boyfriend's house. The door's closed. Like, I'm sure now that I'm older, I'm sure they were having sex,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like one of those things where, you're constantly kind of around this energy, and you kind of pick up from the people closest to you. You kind of learn the weird lessons that way. So that's, that was kind of my sexual experience that way.
Well, I will say that my household was super strict. My parents, they gave me the sex talk, and it was like, man has a penis and a woman has a vagina. My mom said, if you let a man stick his naked penis in your vagina, you'll either have a baby that's $100,000 or you're going to get an STD or AIDS.
Oh, gosh.
I didn't use none of that.
How confusing. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Well, she gave me the real.
Scare your ass.
He was just basically trying to say, don't do it. Don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't do it. Please don't do it.
Basically.
Look, it's bad or it's bad, okay?
They were like, no.
Exactly.
Not my little baby. Not my little chocolate drop. Child, when I ended up pregnant at 25 with a boyfriend, I feel like my dad was so disappointed. Like, I had a massage and it was a virgin this whole time, and someone just defiled my baby.
Not defiled.
Yes, bro. He was so
funniest word to me.
He wasn't even upset that I was pregnant. He was more disappointed that I was pregnant. He was like he was more disappointed that I had sex.
Right, the sex, not necessarily the baby.
Yeah, not the pregnancy, it was the sex.
He's like, damn it.
You were supposed to stay a virgin for forever.
I know. Oh, so outside of that third talk, that was my birds and the bees talk, and then they're super conservative. I didn't know that Deacon and Deaconess even did that, because when I saw the cards, I was like, not Deacon.
So then, wait, I have a question for you, Miss Sasha. How did you go from conservative household to Miss Dawn now? Miss Dawn.
Right.
Me. I was going to call you Baby Dawn, but you done graduated. So how did you get from point A to point B? How?
So honestly, that stern talk that my parents gave me, that was after my trauma. And I had my serious discovery and getting to know myself and my own experiences with my tingle and all that. And what my parents taught me in that talk was that you want to share that with someone who's at least going to be on the same level, that you want to make sure that you guys both have jobs. This person has a good home, upbringing, and if you are going to do it, make sure that person's a virgin too, so you don't have to worry about that. So I lost my virginity at 18. We were both virgins, had our stuff together and stuff like that. Then he cheated on me. And after I got my power from that situation, then I've been on a rampage to get my power ever since. You done cheated on me. Somebody who took something from me. Guess what? I fucks with me so much that you can't fuck with me.
Yep, I love it.
Okay? You can't make me do nothing I don't want to do. I'll femininely turn you down. I don't feel obligated to give anybody no pleasure for me. You better not stare at my toes too hard after I got them done. If you the man in the store, like, nigga, don't you be looking at my toes for free.
Did I give you permission?
No,
for real. Run me my money, man.
Right. Exactly. So for me, my house obviously was not very conservative, but here's the kicker. So we talked about all these things very openly. To a point where I have 7 brothers and sisters, okay? And my younger brothers would come running down the stairs when they got their first pubes, like, look, I got one. And we'd all go, where? You know,
right? That's you're a fucking liar.
No, whatever. Right. Bro, that looks like the dog hair that fell off the towel when you got out the shower. Shut up. You know, like that's
so
how
funny.
Right. Me, because I was one of the only girl to have an older sister, right? But because I was basically the oldest one and a girl at the time, my older sister had moved out, right? It was very much, here's A, B, C, D, E, F, and you're going to know everything. You know, mental, physical, all of it. You're going to learn how to flog. But you better not freaking give away your precious flower. You don't give your precious flower to just anybody. It is like gold. Your kisses are like gold. Don't you give that away to nobody. Like, that was my mom. So, like, when I lost my virginity at 18, I did it the right way. I went and got married at 18. But lost my virginity. Woo! My mama said I had to wait till marriage. Okay, so I'm gonna walk down the aisle at 18. Dumb. But that's how I do it, right? But to a point where, like, I would keep that very clouded and very, like, protected. And because my mom said so and she was so open, we had this really great relationship. But it was to a point where, like, I got into that marriage. And my first time, my second time, my third time, I'm like, is this what it's supposed to be like? Because all the talks that I've had, all the training, like, he gets on, he gets off, and then he literally gets off me, and I'm like, laying there like what is? Like, that hurts.
That's traumatizing.
Right, that hurts. I'm not okay with this. Like, and it took me a really long time because I was married for 5 years, had a baby. You know what I'm saying? Right. At 20, and 2 weeks later, I turned 21. You know what I'm saying? And so I was very, very young, very naive, and thinking, God, this is not at all what anyone explained to me about sex at all. And here's the answer is that I wasn't taught how to properly vet somebody. I wasn't taught how to properly stand down somebody. Really understand if I'm dealing with a narcissist, if I'm dealing with somebody that's going to be abusive verbally,
I'm waster.
Yeah.
The pen pal.
Right.
We're not taught any of this shit.
Right.
It's nuts.
Right.
It's literally nuts. Because I would have to agree, I was in a similar space, not knowing exactly out of that, what should I be looking for? You know, we're dating at 17, 18, we're babies. We don't know what the hell's going on, you know?
Well, and my mom taught me to always be very open, okay? Jealousy doesn't thrive in a relationship. So I was always very open. I gave my husband a threesome. And, you know, there was things that were said to me outside of that threesome that then created complexes within myself, where he would go, oh, you remember that girl we were with last night? Her shit smells right. You, on the other hand, you know, and that makes you just, oh my God, this is the first guy I've ever been with. I'm married to you. Oh my God, there's something wrong with me. Oh,
there's something wrong with me. What's wrong with me?
So that's why I asked Miss Sasha, how did you go from conservative to finding your freak, you know, or finding your openness? Because it really took me a lot of years to come out of that marriage, be alone, go through my hoe phase, all of that to even figure out if I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? Am I okay?
You know what? The whole phase really lets you know if you're through your trauma or not. Because even within that whole phase, you might have some one night stands and those, like if you're not vetting them properly, you may get choked a little too abruptly. You may get, you know, hit it from behind a little too hard. And you start crying. It's like, why do I feel this? Because I didn't vet this person appropriately, or they were gaslighting me into even getting to this point. Now it's nothing like we discussed. So it's like, what the fuck? I can't say stop. He won't stop. I'm a baby.
You know, like you're not there. You're really not.
So yeah, I can definitely agree that vetting and this whole understanding oneself and all that stuff is super important, especially when dealing with trauma. And going through that whole phase is important, so you can figure out what to do and not to do, and how to recognize kind of that trauma coming back to you, and how to sit in it and digress too. But sometimes you need a session and be like, damn, why did this bother me so much? Like, why did him pulling my hair like that really do that? But you do need that whole phase. It is vital. Everyone should have a whole phase.
Yes. I mean, really,
I stand on it. I stand on it.
Yep. Honestly, between getting to know yourself and masturbation, it's a very normal thing. You need to learn yourself first. And yes, everybody needs a whole phase, and you shouldn't feel guilty about it, because how else are you going to realize there are different people out here in this world and how you vibe with each one of them and who you don't want in your damn circle? You can't learn that if you don't go out and experience it. So, yeah.
Exactly. Literally.
So, what? What were you going to say? Ms. Aurora.
Oh, no, that was it.
Okay. So I just have a few stats to read through really quick, and then we'll kind of wrap this conversation up. We've gotten a nice little highlight from each of us and our upbringing and how we've done things. So you have 3 different views on how sex and sexual relations are, you know, handled in different households. So we're going to get to the serious part of it, and we're going to talk about sexual violence, sexual trauma, and we're going to break down what sexual trauma actually is. Just as an eye-opener, over 30% of all PTSD cases in the United States alone can be attributed to sexual violence. There are so many people at war, there's so many people in car accidents, there's so many variations of PTSD, and it's crazy that out of 100%, 30% are
sexual trauma.
So upon that, sexual violence has been linked to negative health behaviors such as increase in likelihood to smoke, abuse substances, and engage in risky sexual activity. That's outside of a whole phase. Risky sexual activity. Yes. So sexual trauma symptoms can manifest physically, such as anxiety, heartburn, nervousness, lack of sleep, racing thoughts, even bipolar depression. Yeah. These are just some of the symptoms that come from sexual trauma and not addressing it or seeking healing or understanding.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you guys know too. The clinical definition of sexual trauma is exposure to any sexually abusive behaviors. Sexually abusive in any way, shape, or form. Any way that's inappropriate, in any way that's intentional behavior that is intended to give the person conducting the acts, it gives them power.
Yep.
So any situation that you are put in to feel degraded, and forced into a situation that you're not asked to, that is a form of sexual trauma. So some of the things that are included within sexual trauma are being touched against your will, being talked to inappropriately, being touched inappropriately, someone forcing their ideas off on you and making you feel bad for not complying. Someone keeping you in a relationship by using you against the relationship. You're not doing this, I'm gonna leave you. This person's doing it, all these threats, those are forms of sexual abuse and trauma.
Yep.
Touch about trauma. So some of the things, if you're going through any of these, unfortunately, it's natural or not natural, but it happens.
Right.
And most of us have trauma in some way, shape, or form. And, with giving these stats, we want to kind of round it out and give the floor to Ms. Jasmine. How do you think, or how do you use sound healing to help people through their traumas, and what kind of tools or references do you use to make sure you're addressing those traumas appropriately?
Yes. So earlier I was saying a bit how sound healing helps to release energy from the body. So that's mainly how sound healing can help with releasing that energy of sexual trauma, sexual violence from the body. Now, also sound healing can penetrate like the deepest levels of your brain, and it helps with fluctuating through different brain waves, and it helps us transition to multiple different levels in different brain states. So because of that, it can allow us to go dig deep into that unconscious mind, pull up some of those negative memories where we basically store all of this trauma. We store it in like the brainstem. And I know that actually a great book to recommend is called What Happened to You. I recently read it, and it's by Oprah and a doctor. I forget his name, but it's an amazing, amazing book. And it just really helped with my eyes more as I've started this trauma conversation with myself, digging deep into what is trauma, how does it relate to our bodies, how does it relate to our day-to-day, similar to what you were just saying, Sasha. So many of us deal with the trauma, like literally 3 of us are on this call right now. We all 3 talked about our own experiences of dealing with that. So that kind of lets you know the insane amount, just basically how sexual trauma has just completely pillaged our entire communities. And it's so unfortunate. But again, because of that, we need to know about these different ways to heal that and to kind of get a little bit of some relief. Of course, this isn't something that happens overnight. You don't just listen to the frequencies and you're like, oh my God, I'm okay with everything forever.
Like that.
Yeah. Healing is not linear. It is extremely cyclical. It is extremely horizontal, diagonal, vertical. It's so many things all at once. Exactly. And we're constantly healing. So sound healing is a perfect way to, over time, help your body release that actual energy hold. Because again, I'm just super big on energy and how our bodies carry that and how energy can transmute itself into disease in our bodies. Yeah. And a lot of the times, a lot of people get things like cancer and heart problems and all these things. Of course, the addition of the lifestyle that some people can live, but also in addition to holding on to negative energies and past traumas and things that we have not let go of, and that again penetrating our bodies Because we have our physical field, but of course we have our spiritual field, and we have our energy field. And once that gets penetrated with the bad vibes, if you will, then that again can just kind of show itself in a lot of real ways.
Your whole soul, your spirit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, something I wanted to add to that is like, if anybody ever wanted to work with you, you need to realize that if you're wanting to work on healing, you have to be actually willing to go through the entire process, not go through 1 or 2 steps and then stop.
I love that you said that, because I, of course, have had clients that are like in it for the long haul. And I've had some clients that were like wanting to feel good for a little bit, and they feel good. They get what they want from the service. However, in terms of the long-term healing and really getting, just really, really getting some of that daily healing energy. And I think too, it's a misconception as well that, oh, well, you're the healer. Like, no, yes, I'm the healer, but I unlock the healer within you through my practice.
Actually the healer. Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. So you are healing yourself at all times, no matter who you say, whatever modality, yoga, sound healing, Reiki, we're just the practitioners.
Prayer, meditation, whatever you want to get
right. Yeah. Right. Just the ones unlocking that within other people. So I think remembering that too can kind of keep that realness in there.
Yes, exactly.
Right. And just to give people some scopes, you want to sit down and do the work with yourself first. If you're going to go into a state like that, like Miss Blume said, be willing to be committed to the process. So go and do your own research first. Sit with yourself and maybe make your own agenda. Like, what would you like to do? What would you like to address? Sit in that first and you feel comfortable, and you can drop your ego. Because if you let go and open your hand a little bit, you can receive your blessing, you can receive your healing, you can receive someone's message for you to help you heal. So try to sit. That's the most uncomfortable thing. And then the next step is getting there. So sit within yourself first and kind of map that out before you can share that with who's going to guide you through your healing.
Right. Yeah. Your answers are here. You gotta find someone that helps you tap into this. If you don't know how to tap into this, every answer that you have for healing for anything is here. You gotta look within. So that's the first step.
And what you just said, Sasha, if you're not ready, it will show. Like, I can tell when someone's in a session and they're extremely closed off. Like, I have a way to check your chakra. Like, I can already tell, like, what's going on with you before you even say anything. And I'm like really intuitive. Sometimes I'll even do like a reading before, and I'll kind of be like, ooh, okay, I see where you are right now.
You're not here today. You can't do this today.
Yeah.
You need a green juice today. Not me.
And sage and hold these crystals and go sit over there.
Is that like, okay, make sure after the session you drink your body weight in ounces of water. Yep. Make sure that you go take a warm bath and put some basil in it, some orange. I definitely like to go a little bit deeper than just you come see me and I just play some bowls. I customize all of my sessions to that particular person, what they're going through and what they need help with in dealing with. So to kind of relate to the earlier question, my focus and what I do is mainly working with women. I, of course, work with men as well. I have had male clients and I love working with men as well. But as a woman and as a woman that has experienced sexual trauma, I'm kind of making this more in alignment with my life's work, because I know what it feels like to have to heal from something like that. So I want to be a resource, especially to other Black women out there that are going through different things. And again, I think it might have been your point earlier, Aurora, about how, or I think it was actually you, Sasha, how we just self-medicate and we do all these things. And we're drinking, we're smoking, we're having pills, we're doing all that. And it's like, that's not really helping with the healing either. It's making it worse. So
that's really a Band-Aid over a wound.
Just like if I can equip our community with minor things.
There you go.
I'm actually on a sound healing album right now. So that like you can listen to it on the go. You can be at home and you can be like, ooh, I need to tap into like some healing energy, and bam, I'm going to have a track for you to listen to for that. Or like, oh my God, I'm feeling so stressed by my day right now. Bam, there's a track on there too that's, called like pressure release. I just think that if we share our gifts more, we can just help each other in better ways to kind of get through this. That's madness,
Yes. See, that's a perfect place to wrap it up. We have 3 different perspectives. We have the amazing Miss Chy Blume here. We've expressed some of our own personal stories, and it's so awesome that we have Miss Chy here. It's okay to address, it's okay to open up, it's okay to meditate. And, just like in Kink Scene, there is aftercare for, opening up your soul and opening up their chakras. And it's okay to sit within yourself before and after. And it's okay to ask for help.
Yes.
So we're going to link.
Wait, repeat that. Repeat that. That needs to be repeated.
It's okay to ask for help. It is okay to ask for help because 30% of us have been through it. It is okay. It is okay. It really is. It's okay to understand it's not your fault too, and it's okay to get help if you ain't got over it. The world may tell you to get over it, you may not. And it's okay to seek help to get over it. We have therapy for some of those things. Even going to therapy, you feel too scared to open up about physical trauma. Are you going to ask me too much? Because now I'm going to start crying about my dad. Now I ain't got time today.
Right.
No. It is okay. There's different ways to heal yourself. And we want to give you guys the right tools and the resources. We're going to matter of fact, Miss Chy, tell everyone where they can reach you at, how to get in touch with you and your services, and where they can find you.
Awesome. So yes, you guys can find me on my website, chyblume.com. That is CHYBLUME.com. From there, like all my socials are linked there. I have a booking link if you wanted to book me for a sound healing session. I, of course, offer virtual and in person. Right now, I'm in Philly. So if you're in Philly and you're watching this, please tap in. I do go home often, and I will be actually relocating back to the West Coast sometime soon. So we'll be offering sessions. Super excited working on a bunch of different projects right now. It's always so much that goes into being a creative and a creative life. So
trust we know.
Yes, trust. Trust and believe we know.
Right. Like today I'm like, okay, bam, I gotta think of a photo shoot creative idea, and bam, I got my show I'm gonna do, Hot Girl Pop Up, bam. So, it's a lot of stuff trying to keep all that in.
We thank you for coming. Thank you, girl. We appreciate you joining our collective and just giving us some enlightenment.
Yes. I have to say, this is my first time meeting Miss Blume, but she's amazing. I would go to her for healing. So it's okay to ask for help and reach out, because that link is website, and all of her information will be in the description box below, so you guys can reach out to her and follow her and all that. So yeah. Enjoy having you on here today. Thank you so much for embarking your wisdom upon us.
Thank you guys for having me. Again, it's all about the conversation and pushing each other forward and not being afraid of our sexual selves,
Yeah, exactly. So that's all we have for our Hot Girl Pop-Up today. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. We had a special guest, Miss Blume. Make sure that you're checking the links in the description box below so you know where to reach her, where to find her, and you learn all about the bowls, because there's all sorts of different types of bowls, the crystal ones, the vibrations, release stuff in your cells. I mean, it's good stuff. So get in contact with her, okay? For real.
And don't forget, since you guys are here, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay up to date for all your kink news and such relations. All that stuff.
And all that stuff. All that stuff about kinky stuff and relationships and stuff.
You know what I mean.
And trauma and stuff.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and thanks for joining.
Yep. Yes. Awesome. Thank you guys. We will see you again. Hot Girls Pop-Ups are coming back, so be staying tuned. This is a good one today. All right. We out.